arms and put him in a cage with pedophiles. Still up on Twitter, by the way, right now. No punishment. Like, but he apologized. What? I'm sorry. It's too late. Go upstairs. I don't care. Over the past week, we've seen another purge, obviously, of not only have we seen this of conservatives, but we have seen rejoicing from the left.
I'm delighted to see this. They're taking out the trash, these awful people, in many cases, encouraging violence, sanctioning violence. Look, you have no right to speak on someone else's platform. Let Milo Yiannopoulos go to GeoCities or MySpace or something. He can't go on Facebook.
Facebook, and I think I agree a lot with
man's like an anti-Semitic cartoon.
It's a company, right? We don't like regulation, then it should regulate itself.
I feel like that first guy who was talking, Mr. Honey, Ilhan Omar's watching it like, I mean, come on! Gosh. It's just
too soft to lay up to them.
We should just do this program like cable news. It would be so much easier. There'd be no prep. Hey, what do you think, sir? Outrage, and I'm sounding slightly like Woody Allen crossed with the nutty professor from The Simpsons, Milo Yiannopoulos. I want to make sure that we're clear about this, and Bill will obviously help clarify this. This is not a freedom of speech issue. Okay,
right.
So before people yell "private company," I want you to hear out what we're about to discuss, and let's go over kind of the new rules as to what is and isn't allowed. So just as important as kind of understanding why and which conservatives are banned is looking at the behavior that's routinely accepted from the left. So there have been clear terms of service violations from the left. Things like doxing, things like threatening people, things like inciting people to violence with no consequences. I want to be really clear. I don't want any preferential treatment. I don't think any, well, I do think some conservatives do, and we'll have to get to that in a second. I just want to know the rules. And I think that's an important distinction that people need to make. There's either dishonest business practices or not knowing where they line up and not applying the law equally.
Well, I think even just the point in our own experience has been the company is often unclear left-hand, right-hand about what the rules are. Right. Even day-to-day, even kind of rules. Handling the same videos, being handled differently in different times by different people means that there's a level of subjectivity that means that when the company's out there selling its platform as A, in reality, it's B. Right. And that is where you get to the heart of a fraud that they're using to build a business platform on. I mean, people choose to use the platforms and spend money on those platforms and give their data, valuable data, to these companies thinking that they're getting something that they're really not.
Clearly don't honor their own rules. So just in case you think I'm making this up, Democratic State Representative, we'll talk with Dan Crenshaw about this in a second. Brian Sims, you guys see this where he videotaped himself? I don't know if videotape is a term anymore. People are like, what does that mean, videotape? You mean selfie? Come on, Grandpa. He selfied? Is that what you mean? We used to use the term videotape. I just realized how dated that was. So I almost said it again. He videotaped himself. He selfied himself, which sounds redundant, harassing young girls and old ladies praying outside of abortion clinics and offered money to anyone who would dox them. Lest you think I'm making it up.
Hi, everyone. Representative Brian Sims here, and I am outside the Planned Parenthood at southeastern Pennsylvania. Oh, no, they're leaving now. A bunch of pseudo-Christian protesters who've been out here shaming young girls for being here. And so here's the deal.
I put pseudo in front of everything.
To anybody who will identify any of these
Makes
three.
it dead.
So we're actually going to donate to Planned Parenthood. I'm going to donate to Planned Parenthood. So look, a bunch of white people standing out in front of a Planned Parenthood, shaming people.
Let me make this really clear. An elected official offered money to anyone who would dox pro-life prayer volunteers. You could live the rest of your life with singular purpose and unbelievable focus in an attempt to and still not accomplish anything that shitty. You could set out to do it. Volunteer prayers.
Oh my gosh. Pseudo-Christians?
What does that mean?
Don't use religion to divide. By the way, you're a pseudo-Christian because you don't support my point of view. That's also Alexandria Cortez. Cortez was talking about this week. She says these people don't know anything about women's bodies. Talking about the Georgia bill. It's like, well, hold on a second. We don't know anything about women's bodies. All right. After 6 weeks, the reason it's called a heartbeat bill is because you're stopping a heartbeat. Whose heartbeat?
Right.
Is that hate speech? Is that can I not understand that because I'm a man, or do I actually just understand you're the party of science that if you have two hearts, you're a medical marvel? Someone get Ben Carson to separate you two. This guy, by the way, this is what's also really egregious here is he took the video, he streamed it, he didn't videotape himself. He streamed it on Periscope. In my day, a Periscope was when you took some milk cartons, taped them together, and put a mirror on one end and a mirror on the other, and you went, see, I can look at the top of the car.
Oh my gosh.
You never did that trick?
Everyone did that.
Everybody did that joke.
And he posted it to Twitter. So this guy obviously feared no consequences. That's what bothers me. Doxing, by the way, and targeted harassment expressly outlined as bannable offenses on Twitter's terms of service.
That one's pretty clear.
And they should be. This isn't an isolated incident. Remember Peter Fonda, the actor? He called for Barron Trump to be abducted and raped by pedophiles.
Yeah.
Lest you think I'm exaggerating again, and I know my half-Asian lawyer, Bill Richmond, gets a little uncomfortable. He thinks I'm going too far.
Yeah.
This is a quote. Easy Rider. Was Peter Fonda Easy Rider?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should rip Barron Trump from his mother's arms and put him in a cage with pedophiles and see if mother will stand up against the giant ass she is married to. Now, I know at first glance that seems pretty cut and dry. But then I see the blue check mark and I don't know what to believe anymore. And then he's still up on Twitter, by the way, right now. No punishments. But he apologized. What? I'm sorry. It's too late. Go upstairs. I don't care.
There's so many things that they have done that would under the ban that just happened would easily have gotten them kicked off if they were on the right.
This is also something that's important. It's also illegal. That's something people need to understand. Actually making a threat of violence or inciting people to violence. This whole idea you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, you actually can.
Yeah.
If there's a fire in a theater. If there's not, I believe the legal term is fraud. We commonly refer to this as lying.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is, if you try to respect the laws, they don't abide by the laws. We have people who sign consent. We have people who say, I agree to appear on camera, change my mind, and then go to YouTube, say, I don't want to be on there anymore. And YouTube makes us blur it. And we say, well, first off, it's a single-party consent state. We're not breaking the law, and we can show you them giving permission.
Break YouTube's
They say, well, we
law.
don't care because we just don't want to deal with the problems. That is the issue. These offenses are actually illegal. By the way, hit the notification bell. Actually, just bookmark the channel on YouTube because notifications may not work. Join up loudofcrowder.com/mugclub, and of course, you can leave a rating there on iTunes. So let's compare this with what gets a ban on the right, in direct contrast to the leniency given to leftists. Do I have anything right or wrong so far legally?
No, I actually was going to say that the exact other point would be probably people would hear the end of the first comment and say, okay, so wait, what's your position? That they should be allowed to say these things or that they shouldn't be allowed to say these things? And the point being that there's a disparity, right? The whole point is people are being treated differently not because of the certain what they're saying. It's because of the view that is being espoused by what they're saying.
Right. Several of the accounts that were banned, I think within the last 2 weeks, the Ocasio-Cortez, the parody account, James Woods was suspended. The MAGAphobia account, which was very surprising to me, it tracked violence against conservatives. It's like a block parent on Twitter, effectively. It's like someone videotaping an Antifa person punching an old lady in the face, saying, "Hey, watch out for that guy! You're banned. Why? Because you upset the old lady. I was trying to stop her from getting punched. Right? She was really upset."
Exactly.
Awesome. And paper-thin reasons were given. For example, the parody account of Cortez would clearly fit the guidelines for Twitter policy. Parody accounts are allowed.
Yeah. It was clear that it was a parody account.
What I love
is
that Twitter said the account was seen as misleading, going a little too close to the source material, I see. Bernie's thoughts, it's hard for me to tell the difference. Sometimes I have to undo the retweet because I retweet it thinking I'm dunking on Senator Sanders. And I realize, wait, it's not him. He really sounded like he was that mad about Pringles. This person has emulated his voice remarkably. And then, of course, Facebook and Instagram, they banned people like Milo Yiannopoulos, Paul Joseph Watson, which I really don't understand the Paul Joseph Watson thing.
How did he get put in that list?
Well, they claim they violated the dangerous individuals policy.
You're dangerous.
Now, is there a legal precedent there for dangerous individuals? Is that a law?
No, I mean they have their own policies, right? And those policies sometimes they deign to give us a definition of them, sometimes they don't. Those definitions often change. It's possible that they have drawn from some statute, but it's not expressly referenced. So no, the policy itself does not refer to any particular law when it says dangerous individual.
Well, and what's really dangerous to me, ironically, here is that they say someone like Gavin McInnes designated dangerous individual by Facebook, and now they're saying that anyone who associates with these people could also be a dangerous individual. Well, I don't know how far that necessarily extends. Obviously, Gavin has been a colleague of mine. We've worked together. But then we've had people on this show who we don't agree with at all. Is that considered association? The rules are never clear. This is the platform that actually banned any pictures of anyone, even seen wearing our Socialisms for Fig shirt, which, by the way, can be purchased at loudofcrowdershop.com, along with this wonderful new Deplatform This crest T-shirt. That's the Crowder crest.
I love that one.
But we retroactively photoshopped all of those pictures with the Socialisms for Fig shirts to abide by the Twitter terms of service. So as you can see, always thinking one step ahead. Now, here's one thing, too. A lot of people see that they see any right-wing critique of social media companies as hypocritical. Again, if you aren't clear about what your problem is.
Conservatives are like, it's not the government's job to regulate private business. But then as soon as they feel like they're not getting enough retweets, suddenly it's like, we're launching an investigation. We've got to nationalize tech companies. Long live socialism! Bernie! 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 Bernie!
I love how that clip was dead silent until you could actually hear the applause break carton coming out.
The flashing.
Even his audience, like, I don't know what to do here. I mean, I get he's the affirmative action comedy central hire, but we thought he'd make it easier for us to play along. We don't want to nationalize social media.
No.
And this is my proposed solution. This is really why I want to get Bill's take on it. This allows all parties the freedom to choose. Okay. Yeah. And I think it just needs to be as simple as a question needs to be answered officially, legally on the record. These social media companies, in a court of law, they need to decide whether they're platforms or publishers, because those two things are very, very different. A publisher, something like the New York Times, or even Louder with Crowder, or this channel, they can monitor content published on their site. They have to take responsibility for it. If they publish defamatory information or they incite violence, they can be sued for that because they're responsible for the content. A platform, which would be more like, say, a cell phone company, they provide a network, they don't monitor, they don't censor your calls, okay? Now, the reason that people have referred to these social media companies and have come to know them as platforms is because they've legally been afforded some of those rights not granted to a publisher. And what are those? Some of you might be asking, ones that protect them from being sued as long as they operate as a platform. So if someone tweets, for example, something defamatory about me, like, I don't know, puts on a fake Nazi symbol or says that I wanted to kill all the Jews, Twitter can't be sued for that as long as they're a platform. But that means if they're a platform, this is how I understand it, and then Bill's going to correct me here, they cannot determine which point of views are allowed, disallowed, pick sides, or try to determine winners and losers just based on point of view. There's a difference between a publisher and a platform, and I think that lately they've been acting in a way that would put them firmly in the territory of publisher, and people don't know the rules.
The idea is that is the tool doing it, or is it the person controlling it? And if you're not controlling the tool, then the person who is the one that's in trouble. So it's the publisher, the one who's putting the message out, and the person who is just the phone line, the tool provider, the platform. There has to be a protection of that because otherwise there would be no financial incentive to be, for example, any kind of platform to provide those kind of tools. If a criminal, orders a drug deal over a cell phone, does that mean that we should punish the cell phone companies because they should be controlling it? No. And in that same way, the companies have changed. Recently, Jack Dorsey actually admitted, surprisingly, in an interview that he found himself to be a public marketplace of ideas and then was talking about his determination as a company that they should be censoring and again, censoring not in the constitutional sense, but censoring in the idea of how they're going to limit what the ideas are. So they are actively choosing, and by actively choosing, they've crossed that threshold from just a neutral platform to a publisher who's choosing the messages they want to put out there, and they should be held under the same standard.
So how would we do that? Would they be called to testify? Does there need to be a hearing? My point is, I think before we get to any kind of regulation, is give them the opportunity to answer, make them choose publisher or platform. In which case, I think we'd be talking about like public utility laws. What would that be? They have to testify.
Some of it could be within the courts, right? So the existing law that's out there. People have asked this question over the years. It's not it's not like just all of a sudden 2019 people are asking this question.
Right.
But in the past, it's been different, and we can see. It's changed. It's been an accretive change over the years where now they are firmly over the line.
It's also very important to conservatives out there. If we do this, and this is, I think, the route that we should take, again, comment, let me know. That means that if you're a conservative, you're going to have to accept these rules for everybody. So don't break the law.
Right.
Don't criminally trespass, right? And videotape someone, I'm going to use that word again, film someone on their private property and then claim that you're being... Please don't do that, because you can film in a public area in a single-party consent state. You cannot go into someone's home or on their lawn and film them there. Just like you can't put out there a false meme that you know to be false to harm somebody just because you don't like them. And that means conservatives are going to have to allow Ilhan Omar, Farrakhan to post all the anti-Semitic crap they want. By that same token, Twitter, you can't allow Hamas to recruit people, right? So at that point, when we say you're a platform, then at least we know, okay, you have to, at least there has to be some semblance of abiding by the law for which all of us can have reasonable expectations. Right now, there's their rule set, and then there's law. And sometimes you can be obeying one and breaking the other. For example, Peter Fonda hoping that Barron Trumps get raped by pedophiles. You would think, I don't know, that seems like a threat. That seems like it could be an actionable offense. Twitter says we're A-OK. AOC parody, we're a little murky on the legality at that point.
Yeah.
I just want to know what the rules are, and I think that's what conservatives need to be pushing for, not locking arms hand in hand with people like Pelosi and people like Cortez, who also want sweeping regulation of these companies.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people do understand the legality of it and understand the difference between a platform and a publisher. And by the way, unlike what we'll talk about Bill Barr with Dan Crenshaw. We have to get to him. He's probably waiting for us. He's under no requirement to speak with more lawyers, by the way. He's under no requirement to provide a completely unredacted report to the public and or all members of Congress. This is a legally relevant question here, unlike the Barr situation, because I know people will accuse the left and the right, no, man, you're all just playing politics. No, we just want some clarity. We're calling for more transparency, not less. I think that's pretty important because, again, when you talk about sweeping national legislation, it's not about Donald Trump right now. Again, the MAGA hat wearing people who just like to troll. No, there's going to be someone else in office after President Donald Trump. So let's try and take some steps in the right direction, allowing for more freedom, not less. The good news here is we can actually take a first step. Low cost, requires very little bureaucratic red tape or any kind of overhaul right away. It only requires the truth. It requires social media companies to put their money where their mouth is. And if they want to continue to benefit from the umbrella and the legal protection of a platform, fine. Or do they want to remove it, edit, and censor content based on point of view like a publisher? This can all start with just 2 yes or no questions. And all that's needed to start a revolution really right now in fairness and transparency and honesty is to get these big tech CEOs, the owners, in the hot seat. And all that's required is to get them to answer yes or no. Hey there, if you like this video, this is the part where I would usually tell you to subscribe, but I can't do it anymore. I'm going to tell you to subscribe, and then YouTube is going to decide that we can't reach you even though you subscribe to this channel, and then I'll say hit the notification bell, and then the notification bell won't even be there anymore. I don't know what to say. More than likely, you'll find my face in a milk carton. But do what you can to stop it. It probably won't do much.